Well, that was
awesome.
The worst movie.
No, stop the bit. Everyone knows that you're just playing and everyone knows you think it's a good movie.
That was the worst X-Men movie ever.
So, now I am taking over this vlog. This was the best Avengers 2.5 ever.
Worst X-Men movie ever. It felt more like a Fantastic Four movie, really. I don't even know what...
Lewis is now dead, so I can tell you the real thing about this movie and how awesome it is. Spoiler free.
And then the Defenders showed up, and who the hell cares about the Defenders? I mean, it's just...
You know what? No, we're not even going to talk about the movie. We're going to talk about latest My Little Pony. Oh my god, I can't believe Trixie came back.
So then the champions showed up.
Like, Trixie is just
and really...
I am the great and apologetic Trixie! And then Twilight's like, you don't want to be friends with them, Starlight Glimmer. And Starlight Glimmer's like, why don't you trust me to make my own decisions? You're supposed to be my teacher, but you're being like an asshole.
See, now my favorite pony is Honey Britches' pony.
That's not a real pony. And then, like...
It is a real pony.
Twilight's all like, I'm gonna sneak up on her and try and make friends with, like, a donkey and a DJ and a bubble thing.
And that's when Honey Britches, revealed herself
to the
others.
But in the end, the dinner party was ruined, and Celestia's hair just does that wavy thing, and we don't know why. And it's just another day in Ponyville.
And it turns out that Honey Britches' cutie mark was actually Deadpool for a split second.
So in Equestria Girls 2, why did... Okay.
Okay, I think we're done with this bit. All right. So, I had a lot of salty foods while I was in the theater. Captain America, we actually did a double feature here because... we also went to Riff Tracks Live Time Chasers. You had never seen the MS3K episode of Time Chasers.
Mm-mm.
So it was fascinating just for a quick thing because I know you're all here for Civil War.
I totally went to Castleton.
For anyone who's ever been confused about that joke in the Blood Rain crossover between Spoonie and me and Nostalgia Critic, that's the you never went to Castleton is a reference to the MST3K. Time Chasers is just a quick thing. Time Chasers is an okay movie for what it was. It's probably 20 or 30 years too late, and the budget really did not justify it. And of course, the glory of time travel through Commodore 64s.
Yeah, and an airplane.
And of course, Bob Evil.
Yeah.
But you know what? For what considering some of the stuff they reviewed, this is the term review has become so ubiquitous. All the stuff they riffed on in MST3K, Time Chasers is one of the better ones they did.
Yeah, it's a bad movie, but not so bad that it's like ugh.
At times, it feels like it's a bit mean spirited towards our plucky nerdy hero. Although that chin is something else.
Yeah.
But anyway, you're not here for that. You're here for Captain America Civil War, and that was glorious.
Yes, best reenactment movie ever. I mean, with the accurate uniforms and the Abraham Lincoln impersonator played by Robert Downey Jr. was great.
Well, see, now I just feel sad that we didn't do that as the opening bit instead of me rambling on about the champions and the defenders.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was really that was amazing. God. It was and it was long, but it's one of those long things that you're okay with it being long because you don't want it to end. You want it to keep going and see what else they do with it. Because oh my god, were they so damn good about balancing all the characters? And yet this is still a Captain America movie at its core. And as you say, it's Avengers 2.5.
Yeah, it feels like it could be an Avengers movie. It has some of the traits of an Avengers movie, but it's definitely a Captain America movie through and through. With the plot, the focus on Cap, but it just, like you said, really balanced out everyone else.
Highly recommended. One of the best. All the Captain America movies have been really the best of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. As much as I like the Avengers, the Captain America movies continue to prove time and time again to be the best stuff they have, the most complex, the most interesting, and kind of they keep being the most universe changing for them.
Yeah, like, okay, the Avengers movies, top. Then all the Captain America ones. And Iron Man 3. Those are my, like, top favorites.
Especially Captain America introduced the element of Hydra and the 1940 stuff and just basically the first superhero in their universe. Winter Soldier ended S.H.I.E.L.D. This one it has some more universe changing stuff. I don't want to spoil it right now unless we're ready to go into the spoiler stuff.
I think we're ready because it's hard to talk about this movie without spoiling something.
Spoiler, Spider-Man is in this movie.
Yeah, spoiler, Spider-Man. But let's just start with scene 1. Car crash.
Oh yeah, spoiler. We're in spoilers now. It is officially.
Spoilers. Spoiler. Car crash. Something in the backseat. Bucky retrieves it, and it's set in 1991. And you didn't get right what happened? Because I put 2 and 2 together so easily.
I did not connect that. I thought it was just I thought it was just a random element that they would explain later, and they did, but I didn't know the full score of it until it actually happened. But you had figured it out already.
Yeah, so pretty much in that first scene is a car crash and those blue packets. Those blue packets, with Bucky retrieving them, I just guessed right away, had to be the super serum. Someone was going to make more of these Winter Soldiers. And who else would have it? But if it's not, the government doesn't have it, the Stark family would have it. And then when this next scene, when Tony was speaking at MIT and did that whole holographic reliving his childhood trauma type of thing, okay, yeah, that was totally his parents. I wonder how that's going to play. And it was a huge part of this movie.
You didn't realize how big a part until later on.
Yeah.
In my mind, what I thought the blue packets were, I thought it was a biological weapon because the movie opened with Cap hunting Crossbones, who's back again and in a much more badass form, and he's actually and he's trying to steal a biological weapon to sell to a bidder.
Yep.
And a lot of the events of the movie basically revolve around it's all about what's the word? Accountability. Now, here's the thing about the original Civil War. I'm not reviewing Civil War. I know people have speculated that it's going to be the 400th episode. It's not. And yes, I'm letting the air conditioning turn on because it's actually really warm for me. But, is it actually turning on? No, it's not. It was just a car passing by.
Yep.
I'm easily distracted.
Yes.
Oh, look over there. No.
Get to the Civil War.
Okay, I'm not reviewing Civil War. But the Civil War comic is garbage. It sucks. Really, the most and I do have a plan on a video relating to Civil War, but not a review of Civil War itself. Ain't gonna be the 400. No one's guessed it yet. Still haven't, even after all the guesses people have thrown out. Still haven't got it. But the Civil War comic is garbage. Really, the most positive thing I can say about it is that for an event comic, the big thing about event comics is that they always say, oh, this will change the universe, or the repercussions will be felt for years to come. Civil War is one of the few times where that actually was true. The Superhuman Registration Act passed, and that lasted for several years. That was the status quo in the Marvel Universe for a few years.
Yeah, and this didn't have that Superhero Registration Act. Instead, it had the Sokovia Accord?
The Sokovia Accords.
Sokovia Accord.
Which makes sense, considering they've said that 99% of the heroes in the cinematic universe don't have secret identities. Pretty much. There's no reason to have a registration act, but there are the Avengers, and the Avengers are a private organization that are accountable to no one.
Yep.
And that is a very scary thought, but at the same time, they bring up all the legitimate points. Agendas change. People can decide to
not help them, but help them, or just help allies to them instead of other innocent people that's outside of the ally sphere.
Mm-hmm. And there is a point where Cap is coming around to it and is almost willing to go for it, especially because, you know, Tony makes the argument, but then Tony says something that screws it up, and it's just like, and it's not like a big dramatic kind of thing. It's just you just torpedoed your whole argument. I was this close to believing in it, but no, I can't trust it like this.
But yeah, the main thing is this Sokovia Sokovia Accord, which stems from the event that had to do with Crossbones. You see, they were in Nigeria, and like all this stuff was going on, and one of the major casualties happened because of Scarlet Witch containing an explosion.
Crossbones tried to suicide bomb himself to kill Cap, and would have probably killed a whole bunch more people, but Scarlet Witch was able to contain the explosion right there and had to send it in, but of course an explosion is a big amount of force falling outwards, so she couldn't keep it contained, and the explosion hit out and killed a bunch of Wakandian goodwill ambassadors.
Yeah, inside of this building.
Yep.
So he blew up next to a building, which still had enough force, killing 11 people, and of course the king of Wakanda is mad as hell.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's one of the things that spurred it on. Although they brought up examples from several other movies, like Avengers 1, brought up, of course, Avengers 2, and they brought up something else. What was it?
Was it a Hulk thing? No, that was
the Avengers.
Hulk.
No,
that was Avengers. They brought up Avengers. They brought up Wakanda. They brought up Winter Soldier when the 3 helicarriers crashed.
Oh yes,
and did tons and tons of collateral damage. And the problem, of course, being that you can argue as much as you want. Well, these were extenuating circumstances. We had to, we weren't the ones who lifted Sokovia off the ground. Ultron did that. We're not the ones who tried to invade us with aliens, and it was unavoidable. But at the same time, the threats have gotten bigger, and it's just been destruction after destruction after destruction. And they're right. They're absolutely right that maybe there was another approach to this, and they still acted without authorization of these countries that operate with it and their borders to do these kind of things. Yeah. So you really do see both sides of it. Yeah,
they even mentioned that, like, Scarlet Witch doesn't even have a visa to be in America right now. So, yeah. And where does Vision even stand? He's not even a human-ish thing.
That's really the thing. The countries after what's happened before, they were willing to give the Avengers carte blanche to operate inside their borders, like 107 countries or something like that.
100, yeah, like 112.
And after the most recent event, which happened in Nigeria, they've decided no, we can't we can't sanction this anymore. We're going to change how this works. Either you're answerable to us, or we will come after you and we will shut you down ourselves. Yeah. And of course, Tony gets behind this mostly for a number of things. And one of those things is actually that he's clearly under stress over what's happening between him and Pepper.
Yeah, like they suddenly put that like in, and I'm like, oh, like the minute she wasn't at the what's it
MIT
called? MIT, I was like, holy shit, their relationship's gone sour. And then she blatantly mentioned it later in the movie. But the real spurring moment is also that lady.
Now, that was in Civil War, the comic, but it's better handled here. The event that starts off Civil War in the comic is that a superhero reality show is filming near a college campus, and they attack, and there's a flagrant use of force on a minor supervillain who causes a massive explosion that kills like a good chunk of people, including 40 kids. And one of those kids attacks Tony Stark on, in the national media and like shoves a photograph. This is the name of my child. This is all your fault. Yada, 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 blah, 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 blah.
The heroes handled much subtly, and I was like, is she assassin? Oh, no, she's a mom. And when you mess with a mom's child, they become assassins.
She wasn't about making it into a spectacle or about trying to start a movement. It was very personal, very much this is the cost of what you have done, and go to hell.
This is the real face of collateral damage. And not just buildings and with people in it that are faceless to you, but actual lives that are being ruined. And that also ties in with our main villain.
Our main villain here, of course, it's one of those things where anytime they do it in these Marvel Cinematic Universe, I'm like, oh my god, it's that. Baron Zemo, who was not a Baron.
No idea who he was.
Baron Zemo is a dude who runs around with a purple sock on his head and is the leader of the Masters of Evil. He's also a Nazi. I'm pretty sure he's a Nazi. I'd have to look it up again. But it's like one of the, I think he wears the purple sock on his head, and I think also a crown.
No. Well, they didn't do that in this movie.
They did not. He didn't take on any identity. It's a very interesting approach to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he was a Baron in this. No, he was just he was an ex-soldier. He was member of a Sokovian death squad, I think is what they said.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, and when we found out about the other soldiers, we thought it was going to go one place, and it didn't.
That was very unexpected. That was very cleverly handled.
That was a good plot twist. That's how you do a plot twist. But yeah, let's I guess talk about all the characters.
Holy crap, how many characters did we eat? We crammed in new characters. We gave balance and development to old characters. They got enough screen time so that it felt like they were relevant to everything and they affected each other's lives. And yet at the same time, it is still 100% a Captain America movie. It is centered around a lot of this revolves around Captain America, his choices involved in this, his own accountability, how he feels about it, how all these events are affecting him, and all the character dynamics feel natural and real. Why is Black Widow siding with Iron Man? It feels natural. Why is Iron Man being so much in favor of this, especially after Ultron and after all these events and Iron Man 3 and the situation with Pepper? It really does feel like, yes, this is a bit of an arc for Tony throughout these movies and trying to hold himself accountable. And it was just that woman giving the photograph of her dead son, quietly in a hallway away from anything else that finally pushed him over the edge.
They say generosity comes from guilt, something she said, and that's kind of like the theme of the movie when you think of why Cap is so adamant on saving Bucky. Kind of guilty for things that happened during World War II, then guilty for not saving him before in Winter Soldier, and so he wants another chance because Bucky is like, one, as old as him, two, best friend, like pretty much family when they were like younger, when his parents were already gone, and they had that again. But now we got more info about why Bucky is the way he is and what they did to him with that sequence. The sequence of words.
Trigger words.
I don't remember all of them, but I remember one, homecoming, freight car.
Which makes me, I'm pretty sure they slipped in homecoming as a reference to the upcoming Spider-Man movie, but it really makes me wonder if all the other words were like arc words, significant kind of a thing too. I doubt it, but it would be very interesting.
But yes, that it goes with Cap as well.
Yep.
And yeah, like even from the beginning when they introduced that Skarkovia Accord, you can start to see the teams kind of forming. Oh man.
And it's a true escalation. Another problem with Civil War the comic is that the Superhuman Registration Act passes very quickly. That's fine. You need to get the event started, but Captain America is on the helicarrier, is talking with Maria Hill, the current head of S.H.I.E.L.D., because Nick Fury is gone at this point. Long story there, but he's basically she's asking him, "Will you obey the Registration Act if it passes?" And he barely gets in an answer before they start crap with him. Like, for no reason. And bear in mind, the Registration Act has not passed yet. Nothing has happened, and suddenly there's a fight. They're just attacking each other. Versus here, okay, Cap acted illegally hunting down Bucky on his own. We took away his toys, and we're keeping him here, but he's still in the loop because he's Captain frickin' America.
Yeah.
But then, he goes out on his own once again, and recruits other Avengers, and he gets back his stuff. Okay, now he's a wanted fugitive. Now we're going after him.
I love how, like, Tony and Natasha's like, I got a guy. I also got a guy. Where's your guy at? Queens. I love how, like, every scene where they had a different place, they put it right across screen in big letters, like sans serif letters, that's probably Futura. like, place.
See, what's funny is that seemed really kind of silly to me after a while.
Yeah, but
it's
kind of needed because it jumps around all over the world.
It does. It's a very international movie. You know, for a Captain America movie, we spend very little time in America. Which I suppose is symbolic of
America!
Yes.
Fuck yeah!
Exactly.
Come again to save the motherfucking day, yeah!
But, yeah, it's just really kind of silly, just like big bold letters, like, what the hell? Queens!
Town! City! Vlog!
That's funny! What's funny is for all the talk about talk in this movie about the collateral damage and the costs and all the destruction and whatnot that's caused by these big superhero brawls, they're still always the ones who are trying to help save people, trying to get them to safety. And even in this movie, when we have our big superhero brawl in the airport, the announcement over the intercom is we're evacuating the airport because you know stuff's about to go down.
Oh God. That fight. So, like, they each got their guys. Of course, Tony gets Spider-Man, and that was a hilarious scene itself.
I am convinced that they made Aunt May that young just so they could have Tony Stark hit on her.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's just that's my new Spider-Man.
Because he keeps calling her hot aunt.
That's my new Spider-Man.
And of course, there's Peter's just like, dude!
Dude, you never know. It could be like Stepdad Stark.
Funny you should mention that.
Oh, Lord.
During the time Civil War, the comic was coming out, Peter had actually moved into Stark Tower with Mary Jane and Aunt May. Because by this point, Aunt May knew who Peter was.
Oh, yeah, I remember I remember that.
And he kind of had taken on kind of a mentor, father figure kind of thing because their old home had been destroyed during a supervillain fight. And Tony felt like, dude, you're a part of the Avengers now. Come live with me. We're going to live the high life, and I'm going to build you a new Iron Spider costume. And the Iron Spider costume is cool in its own right, but of course, you know.
And I just like how he's a teenager. He's young, and he still like has really no idea what's going on in the how deep it is. He just know that Cap's up to no good, and Stark is like told him to do the thing.
Peter has an old ass early '90s Macintosh sitting on his desk. I used to see those things used to be. I mean, they set up that he's kind of into retro tech, but at the same time, that thing is not just retro. That thing is only slightly more advanced than the Commodore 64s and Time Chasers.
That's like it belongs in a museum.
When I was a kid, that computer was considered outdated compared to the Macintoshes in my elementary school.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, Peter. And you tried to claim to Tony, I mean, it was obviously an easy lie. He tried to say, oh yeah, those videos of Spider-Man are totally just CGI. I totally made it with Photoshop. Yeah, Photoshop running on that thing. Yeah, let's take you 3 days just to paint a line.
But yeah, that was a great scene. And then like on Cap's side, we got Ant-Man.
Which you have not seen the Ant-Man movie, unfortunately.
Yeah, I haven't had time to watch it before I saw this movie, but I really wish I did. Because he was awesome. And like, Clint came back out of retirement.
Yep.
And that was cool.
I like how he had a plan to take on Vision. Yeah. I mean, obviously he wasn't going to win, which is why I was like, okay, we got to go now because Vision's going to come back and we're in deep.
Yeah, and it didn't last long, but it was Scarlet Witch that finally did it.
And plus,
just temporarily.
Plus, he had a very good reason for good motivation for her. It's actually the same motivation that Batman once used in Justice League the Animated Series.
Oh.
When the Justice League is accused, do you remember the episode where the Justice League satellite gets hacked and it fires a beam down into Cadmus?
Uh-huh.
And the top members of the Justice League decide to surrender to the government to make sure that their peaceful relationship maintained. Batman's the only one who doesn't do that because he's like, dude, if you want to prove you're innocent, you go out there and get off your ass and do it. You don't just wait for other people to do it for you, which was Clint's motivation to Wanda, and that it's just if you want to prove to the world not to be afraid of you, and prove that you're innocent and crap like that, you get out there and do it. You don't just sit around waiting. And
it seemed like she took down Vision, even though just temporarily, but by just controlling the gem itself instead of trying to control his body.
Somehow it accessed the gem, and I'm assuming the way she did it was affected his density, just so he would just so dense that he started falling through the earth.
Yeah, because
let's face it, it's the Vision. You're not. It's fighting someone with the power of an Infinity Stone. You got no chance.
You're practically fighting a deity. But yeah. Oh man.
On that same note, if we're still going with Civil War, the comic comparisons, they include another thing they did better. They included this line. This line was during Peggy Carter dies off screen in this.
Yeah.
Dies in her sleep, and we saw her last in Winter Soldier in a nursing home, suffering from Alzheimer's.
She was old.
She was, and it's sad and depressing.
Yeah.
But her. Was it granddaughter, grandniece? I can't remember.
Niece.
Her niece, who was the agent that we saw last time, Agent Carter. Sharon Carter, I think is what it is, yeah. Who I think in the comics eventually got married to Steve.
Ooh, nice.
Sharon Carter basically gives a eulogy, and during her eulogy, she points out, she says this quote that attributed to Peggy, but in the comics I think was attributed to an actual person. Was, if you are right, fight those who are wrong. And it's one of those things where where you stand on the bridge, and if someone says move, you say no, you move. Yeah. And it's crap in the comics. It's not actually in Civil War itself. It's in one of the tie-ins where Cap says that to Peter to convince him to leave Tony's side. And you know what? It was garbage. It was stupid. It was ham-fisted. Didn't make any sense. Civil War was a terrible, 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 terrible event.
Yes, but this movie is good.
Exactly.
This movie is good.
And the funny thing is, I really hate to do this because it seems like I'm beating on a dead horse with this. But I've been telling you about this. This is what Batman v Superman should have been. It's handling the exact same themes about accountability, the potential for abuse of power, heroes fighting each other, manipulation by outside powers. And yet, it zigs everywhere where Batman v Superman zags.
But yeah,
the heroes. Both sides are completely understandable.
We're still friends, right? That's my favorite scene where
Clint and Natasha are fighting each other,
and they're on opposite sides. And then Natasha's like, "We're still friends, right?" He's like, "As long as you don't hit me,
hit me
too hard." And then Scarlet Witch just splits him up and is like, "You're pulling your punches."
And even between other characters, it's clear that there's some mutual respect going on. It's like, dude, I don't agree with you, but I got to do what I got to do. And he's like, I get you, man, but I'm going to punch your lights out. There is clearly respect for the other side. That they see the other person's viewpoint, but they are completely at odds with each other. They can't. They're only one side of this can win, but they're gonna they're gonna do everything they can, but they don't hate each other.
Yeah, when Rhodey went down, because Falcon pretty much dodged one of Vision's beams, and it hit Rhodey instead, and his suit went offline, so he just bam,
smacked down hard.
Yeah, actually became somewhat paralyzed afterwards, but he got some new legs.
I think that happened in the comics too. That James Rhodes lost the use of his legs, and the Iron Man suit helped him out with that. But don't quote me on that.
Yeah, well, he got some new legs. He's learned to walk on them.
Yep.
But yeah, even Falcon, who was chasing them, was like, "Oh shit, is he all right?" And Iron Man's just like, boom. He's just Iron Man's just.
No, he apologized. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it.
Oh god. But
yeah, versus Batman v Superman, how that was handled. The end of the fight wasn't contrived. Why they were fighting was not contrived. The situation made sense. Why they were fighting where they were.
Everyone had motivations in this movie.
And even then, the fight was fun. Of course, Of course, it's sad to see these people fighting each other.
But when Hank Pym turns into a giant, Spider-Man references.
Not Hank Pym, Scott Lang.
Scott Lang, and then fucking Spider-Man references a Star Wars movie to
that
deal
old
with it.
movie, Empire Strikes Back.
How old is this kid? It was great. And like that just is fun. And like freaking Ant-Man throwing a small truck through with something to make it into a big truck. It exploded. He's like, crap, I thought that was a water truck.
If we're going to have heroes fighting each other, have it be motivated properly. And even if you wanted to argue the Batman v Superman's motivations were good, it wasn't a fun fight. It really wasn't. It wasn't something that I really want to go back and rewatch a dozen times. I want to rewatch this a dozen times because this is so much fun. Seeing the characters all like using their own unique talents against each other, coming up with new tactics. Everyone has moments.
Everyone has a gimmick.
Not everybody's got a gimmick.
People don't talk this much during fights, right?
Oh, sorry. Spidey is all like fascinated by the science of all this, even while he's trying to fight them.
And he did a pretty good job.
Yeah, he stood well on his own.
Yeah, it's like, no, I can do it. You're done. No, I can
do it. I'm calling your aunt. No, don't call my aunt.
Oh God, he literally stole some scenes in that fight. Oh, and of course Ant-Man stole some scenes when he turned tiny and went into Iron Man's armor and started taking it apart from the inside. Which was just clever. And
also, the situation, it's not like they wrapped it up all neat in a tiny little package saying that no, Cap was absolutely right, we can't do this. No, it ends it ends in a similar manner that Civil War ended, that the pro side wins. Where it got better than the Civil War comic is it wasn't so stupid and contrived how it ended and how Cap surrendered. And in fact, Cap doesn't surrender.
Nope.
He goes on the run. But he says, Tony, I still respect your opinion. I can't agree with it, and hopefully you'll see eye to eye with me on this someday.
And gave him a phone.
They didn't try, and if you need us, call us.
Yeah, and like
it's amazing how well they put this together versus again Batman v Superman and even the Civil War comic where it's just contrivances and it only ends for the stupidest of reasons ever. And in this case, there's actual motivation. There's just
yeah, I like the prison scene a lot because they put like Clint, Falcon, Ant-Man, and Scarlet Witch in this like high security prison underneath the ocean that pops up if someone wants to land with their helicopter. And Iron Man goes there and freaking Ant-Man's like, yeah, Hank Pym always said not to trust Stark, and Tony's like, who are you?
And you are? Who are you again? Of course, yeah, because Scott Lang hasn't met Tony Stark in person yet.
Yeah, I was like, hi, we haven't met. I'm Clint. I don't care. Oh, Black Panther.
Black Panther was great in this.
Oh,
again,
God.
he had great motivation.
I'm marrying him.
He had an arc.
I'm marrying Black Panther. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be Queen of Wakanda now.
That's fair.
Okay. Get that vibe. Him. Oh God. But yeah, he stole the show sometime, and his motivation was mostly revenge. But then talking to the villain at the end, the Baron
Zemo,
who pretty much did his revenge and was going to just kill himself. He's like, nope, I'm really gonna let you live so you can go. Like,
there's still
justice.
There is still justice among the living.
There's still justice among the living. But his arc ended like he realized what vengeance can do.
Because we see that because the twist reveal near the end, major spoilers here, is that the Winter Soldier killed Tony Stark's parents. They're the ones who he actually murdered them, and it turns out Cap knew.
Yeah, and I'm like, at first I was wondering, when did Cap exactly know?
And my guess is that after he woke up from the ice, he looked up all the people that he knew during that time and found out that they died in a car accident or something along those lines, or murdered in that case. And then when he discovered the Winter Soldier stuff, he probably put two and two together.
Yeah, I guess that would make sense. But yeah, Tony didn't know that Winter Soldier did it until he saw the video. And then, of course, when you see someone kill your mom and dad, you're going to get angry when to kill them, even though you know the truth that it wasn't always them, that was because of mind control. But Tony's like, fuck, kill my parents, gotta die. And then that's when you get the triple fight between them.
What's interesting to me is that he only said he killed my mother.
Yeah.
He did not care that he had killed his father. It was his mother who was actually like nice and kind to him.
He loved his mom.
Which is very interesting to me because when we first see Tony, it's that holographic representation of his mom and dad leaving for the last time and saying, I didn't say I loved you to them when they left, and I really should have. So just on the layers of the Tony Stark, character things, was that sincere when he was talking to the MIT students, or was that a show he was putting on, saying, no, and in reality, I could give a crap about my dad altogether. I only cared about my mom, kind of a thing.
Yeah, and how they did the whole young Tony Stark thing, I'm like, holy crap.
That was very impressive.
Yeah, and like, if you look at younger pictures of Robert Downey Jr., yes. To like a T.
What I actually thought was going to happen was he mentions during this speech the reason why he's starting this foundation and paying off all of the MIT students' research projects was that he had tried to invent an anti-trauma machine, basically a device that could fix traumatic memories and the damage that it causes to psychology, and of course it failed.
Yeah.
So what's interesting me and barring the ethical ramifications of such a device, what I thought was going to happen was that they would use it on Bucky to fix him. Otherwise, Bucky's fixing seemed to be just like he got unconscious.
Well,
we hit him hard enough.
Yeah, I mean, after the whole fight at the end, his arm was like smashed, and he's like, until I get all this stuff out of my brain, I don't want to cause any more trouble. So he's refrozen again.
Well, yeah, but I mean, when he woke up after the river.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, he was just fixed. He just was. He's like, did I just do this again? And suddenly all his memories are back. While in Germany, when he first encountered Cap, it seemed like he was still uncertain of who he was, and still, everything was still kind of shaken.
Yeah, his brain is just like blah, 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 blah. But Cap never stopped believing in him, believing that he could come back, and even trusted him on like this whole situation. But yeah, like
this movie is so damn good. So much well-written characters.
Like getting more into Scarlet Witch as well, who's new, like joined up after
Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron, still technically in training, doing well, but yeah, not she's kind of shaky
and being afraid of her own power.
Yeah.
Scene between her and Vision was really good.
Yeah, and getting to know a little bit more of Vision, who's trying to make her a meal, but he's never ate anything before, so...
I like how he's wearing clothes.
Yeah, no, he doesn't even need to wear clothes, technically, but he does. And I remember,
Vision, what have we talked about?
But the door was open, so... Fine, I'll use the door.
Vision is like our wacky sitcom neighbor.
Because he could go through walls and stuff, and people are like, use the door. Oh, just a lot of the little banter between all the characters is very Avenger-esque. But like all the plot heavy stuff and drama was definitely Captain America. Oh, what else about this movie? Oh yeah, surprise love interest.
Yeah, that was something that you were upset about, and I can get that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Like, so we got Agent Carter, Neo, Agent Carter II,
Sharon Carter,
and like she helps out. One helps get their toys back, and she works for CIA and stuff, so she's involved in all the other stuff, slips them the information, and even helps them get out of town. But now she has to get out of town herself, and as her and Steve were talking, they make out a little bit. And I'm like, wait, what? There was no, like, while they obviously working together and the connection is mostly through her aunt, there was no inclination that they had any romantic thing with each other, or even just an interest, like an attractive interest in each other. It seemed like they were just doing some business. Then next thing you know, they kiss, and I'm like, the fuck? You guys never... just no scene to set that up.
I wonder if there's a deleted scene. There's more deleted scenes of them together and dating.
Perhaps, but it just kind of was a kiss that came out of nowhere.
Especially because we all... Sorry to interrupt you there.
And you know what? Yeah, that's sweet. And it did give that good scene where Bucky and Sam were like... but...
Especially after they had just bantered in the car, like, can you move your seat up? No.
And then Bucky's
and then they're just like...
Fine. But yeah, it's just like kind of came out of nowhere. But
I'm really inclined to say there's probably a deleted scene of them going on a date or something before this, because otherwise you have to remember who the hell she is. Because the first time we see her in this movie, it's the funeral scene where she's on speech, so you have to remember. Oh, it's that lady.
Yeah, but they didn't have time to date. I mean, they were dealing with all the shit, and after her aunt's funeral.
I mean, before the funeral.
Okay, maybe if they'd known each other, but. It didn't seem like they knew each other yet.
Or at least not very well.
I don't know. It just kind of came off as...
Yeah.
Okay.
It's my theory at best to justify it.
I didn't get with your aunt, so I'm going to get with you.
Yeah, there's always that creepy part of it. My theory is that it was one of those... It's very well likely that neither of us were... That one or both of us is not going to survive what's going to happen the next few days, so if I never see you again, kiss...
Yeah.
But that's a guess at best. But otherwise, it is very poorly set up. So, but if that's the cardinal sin of this movie, then I think we can move past that.
Yeah.
Romance is not something that seems to be handled very well in the cinematic universe, according to some people, when it comes to romance between Black Widow and Hulk, which is, Hulk's not in this one.
Well, yeah. They mentioned have no idea where he is. How are you gonna have people on your team and not know where he is?
Well, he's in semi-retirement right now, too.
Yeah, and of course, Thor's in Asgard, so...
Which is funny, bringing up Thunderbolt Ross, who's in this movie, bringing up Hulk makes sense, but bringing up Thor is not a sovereign citizen of the world at all. He's there as a favor to you guys. He's a god. You don't have any authority over him. And in fact, that was a thing in... Well, actually, it wasn't a thing in Civil War, the comic.
Because Thor's like, fuck you.
No, Thor was dead.
Oh. Okay.
Thor was dead at the time because Ragnarok had happened at the time.
And which that's going to become a movie.
What actually happened in the comics was because they decided to turn their idea of moral complexity in Civil War, the comic, was make Tony Stark the biggest asshole in the universe. Who's only not the biggest asshole in the universe, because then Cap pulls a dick move, but then Tony ratchets up the dickness. He cloned Thor.
Oh dear, no.
And Clor, as he is affectionately referred
to... Oh
yeah,
you told me this.
Murdered a giant man. Mind you, it was a different giant man, but it was still like, what the hell?
Yeah, don't do that.
And it was such a betrayal of Thor that when Thor came back... because superheroes, the first thing he did was Tony tries to show up and tell him, okay, Thor, how you been? So there's this whole superhuman registration thing, so you're gonna have to put up and deal with it. Sorry, man. And all during this big speech that Tony's giving, the storm clouds are gathering above him. Thor just stands there and glares the entire time, and then big fight and Thor kicks his ass.
Of course.
Because, or basically lays out, you violated my person, you did this thing, you committed murder in my name, you are... I love the issues. It was written by J. Michael Straczynski, too, so that was even better. and basically, you stay the hell out of my way, or else I will show you what it is to be a god of thunder versus a man in armor.
Lols. But yeah, oh boy.
So yeah, this was a fantastic movie. Is there anything else we need to say?
Ooh. Oh god, there's so much we could say about it, but I gotta think.
And we're already at 44 minutes on this vlog.
I already talked about the plot twist where you thought that Baron Zemo's plan was to get the other four super soldiers, but no, he just assassinated them.
Yeah, that was they died in their sleep.
God damn it.
That was definitely a twist. I thought he was going to start the Masters of Evil right there. You know, I'm sure he wouldn't call them the Masters of Evil, but there you go.
Yeah, instead, oh no, Martin Freeman's in this, right? And he's like one of the government guys.
Everett Ross. There's something about that name that's familiar. Maybe it's the Ross part. Maybe he's related to Thunderbolt Ross, but there's something about the name Everett Ross that really sounds familiar to me, but I'm completely drawing a blank.
But yeah, like, so they finally got Baron Zemo in this same restraint that
the Winter Soldier's
Bucky was in.
Yeah.
Which it looks like a kid's car seat in a little car. So when it first came on screen, everyone was laughing at it because Bucky's just like, and he's in this car seat. He's in this car seat. But like, so now they got Baron Zemo in this car seat.
I don't know why he's not super powered.
He's a bad guy,
I suppose.
And so Morgan Freeman's like, "What? You did all this stuff? Yeah, you think it was gonna work?" And then Baron Zemo was like, did work or something.
Didn't it?
Didn't it?
How did it feel for your plan to your plan didn't succeed? Didn't it?
And then Martin Freeman was just like, didn't have anything to say because when you think about it, Baron Zemo's plan was to split up the Avengers. And what are the Avengers right now? Split up.
Yep.
And now, like, Tony's gonna have his people, and then Cap has his people who I guess aren't Avengers now, but they're kind of like whatever now. Maybe
it's maybe this will be the plot of Infinity. I was wondering what the actual plot of Infinity War was going to be, because there's not really much. I don't know. See how you could stretch that out over 4 hours, considering it's just Thanos has the Infinity Gauntlet and he's a god. Well, there's your story. How do you stretch that out to 4 hours? So maybe
they have to destroy Vision to do that, don't they?
Yeah, so maybe, but maybe I'm thinking is it's going to be a character. It's the story is this is how we bring everyone back together, and this is how we make everyone friends again.
And also how we get Guardians of the Galaxy in this.
Yes.
Well, Peter Quill's probably biggest conflict will be not only just the Infinity Gauntlet, but holy shit, I'm back on Earth. Do I stay or should I go?
Assuming he's actually part of it. I have to imagine he is, because Infinity War should be bringing everything together.
I want the Trinity of handsome Christophers to be on screen at the same time. Now, if you don't know the Trinity of handsome Christophers, Chris Pratt, Chris Evans, and Chris Hemsworth. They are the three most handsome guys named Chris ever. So, yes, I want that movie to happen.
All right, is there anything else we need to say?
Talk about trailers.
Yep, trailers. Let's see. We got that rock CIA comedy that looked stupid.
Yeah. Secret Life of Pets. Yeah. X-Men Apocalypse.
That trailer actually seemed a little better because they actually finally did something with Apocalypse's voice. I complained about this in Batman v Superman when we had the trailer for that too, and that's John Calicos is Apocalypse to me from the X-Men animated series. The deep, powerful voice, and slightly modulated. And in this one, they finally did some modulation to his voice, because otherwise it's so soft-spoken. I am Apocalypse. Look at how dramatic I am. And in this case, they finally did something with it. Good. Let's be imposing with Apocalypse already.
Then we had Jaws 5, the girls.
Yeah, just it's the I can't remember what the actual name of it was.
The Shallows.
The Shallows. Yeah, it looked like I could see that as Jaws 5.
I'm calling it Jaws 5 Surfer Girl.
I think there was also a movie like that called Treading Water or something like that, where people left in the water and sharks start circling or something like that.
Fine, it could be Jaws 6 Surfer Girl.
No, I mean this idea has been done before, but it's got potential for suspense, and it looks like it might be entertaining, but I'm not gonna go see it.
Jaws 10 Great Booty.
Battle the Russian shark called Ivan Sharkovsky. What else we got? We got Rogue One. That looks good.
Of course. Same trailer they already released online now.
Yeah, but they're tight-lipped about all things Star Wars, so.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that because it still looked damn good.
What else? That was just a crap load of trailers, though.
Doctor Strange teaser. I understand exactly why you're probably gonna boycott it.
Yeah, it's just they have the Asian motifs in it and still hired Tilda Swinton. I mean, I thought they would just take that away and then just have Tilda Swinton in this lab, but no, they kept all that and still have Tilda Swinton. And I'm just like, this makes me... It's like the same reason I'm not going to see Ghost in the Shell, pretty much.
Whitewashing bad.
Yes. There's a whole John Oliver thing on here. On that. So, yeah. If you don't know what that is, YouTube it.
Is there anything else?
Oh, God. Anything else on your end about the movie?
I think we've said our piece. It's awesome. Go see it.
It's awesome. Go see it. Captain America Civil War, a.k.a. Avengers 2.5, a.k.a. Tony and Steve ruined their relationship.
AKA, this is what Batman v Superman should have been.
AKA, like Steve left Tony for Bucky. Will the relationship survive or will they go into threesome mode? They go into threesome mode, but not in the way you think.
Yeah, I think that's everything.
I'm a shipper. Face it. I ruin every vlog with this.
Bye!